Namaskar, Gurujans. Our distinguished chief guest, Director General of Shipping, Shri Jagannathan ji, respected speakers and panelists, and dear participants, a very good afternoon. It is my proud privilege to welcome you all to this 7th launch day webinar of MTG, centered on a theme that is both timely and transformational. The theme being balancing human wisdom and digital immersion in maritime education and training. This theme we have carefully chosen because maritime education today stands at a critical inflection point. Maritime training has always been a discipline where experience, judgment, and seamanship lie at the very core. Yet we stand today at a decisive crossroads where human expertise must harmoniously coexist with rapidly advancing digital technologies. The challenge before us today is not whether to adopt technology, but how wisely and responsibly we integrate it without diluting the human element that defines the safe and competent seafaring. Today, AI is no longer experimental. It is very much embedded in our navigation systems, in our engine diagnostics, in voyage optimization, in risk assessment, and increasingly maritime education and training. Modern maritime training has benefited enormously from digital tools such as advanced ship simulators, AR/VR, LMS systems, and AI-assisted content creation tools. However, it is vital to emphasize that technology is an enabler, not a replacement. No algorithm can substitute master's situational judgment in restricted waters, an engineer's intuition during an emergency failure, a trainer's ability to read human behavior, stress, fatigue, and decision-making under pressure. Can we mute the person, please? Delphin?
Yeah.
Maritime competence is shaped not only by information, but by mentorship, experiential learning, ethical responsibility, and professional culture. These elements only human experts can impart.
Delphin is coming from Captain Sakis. Okay, he's muted. Okay.
Therefore, the true objective of maritime training today is a balance. Balance of human expertise, which provides wisdom, judgment, leadership, and safety culture, and balance between digital immersion, which enhances realism, scalability, consistency, and accessibility. When aligned correctly, the technology amplifies the instructor's capability, improves learning retention, and prepares seafarer for increasing complex ships operations without compromising on good seamanship. The structure of today's program, gentlemen and the ladies, is to reflect this balance. We will start with a technical perspective session on integrating AI, AR, VR for the next generation maritime training systems, where we will explore how advanced simulations, immersive environments, and intelligent systems are redefining competency development in navigation, engineering, cargo operation, and emergency responses. This will be followed by a trainer's perspective on empowering faculty with immersive tools, an extremely important discussion because technology is only as effective as the educator who deploys it. AI-assisted content development, adaptive learning platforms, and immersive simulators must strengthen, never overshadow the role of the instructor as a mentor, assessor, and custodian of maritime values. Finally, today's panel discussion on designated hours as a framework for quality maritime training is particularly significant. It reinforces the idea that quality training is not just about technology adoption, but about structured learning time, guided practice, and meaningful human engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, Gurujans, this webinar is not merely an academic discussion. It is a collective exploration of how we can responsibly integrate digital immersion while preserving the human core of maritime training. I encourage all participants to engage actively with the speakers, panelists, and fellow professionals as we work together to shape future-ready, safety-driven, and human-centered maritime education and training systems. As always, MTG will strive to assure that every interested maritime student has ample of knowledge, right guidance, and opportunity to pursue a career in the maritime world. With these words, I once again welcome all of you to the MTG 7th launch day and wish them a great success. Can I now ask our chief guest, Director General of Shipping, Shri Shyam Jagannathan ji, to address the gathering. Before he takes the mic, let me give a brief introduction. Although I'm sure we all know him, he is our dear Director General of Shipping and he needs no introduction. However, for the protocol, I will read out his brief profile. Shri Shyam Jagannathan ji is a 1997 batch IS officer of the Assam Meghalaya cadre, assumed office of the Director General of Shipping under the Ministry of Port Shipping and Waterways, Government of India on 3rd of July 2023. He has earlier served as a Zonal Development Commissioner, Santa Cruz, SEEPS, Special Economic Zone, SEZ, Mumbai, under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India at Mumbai. In his earlier assignment with the State Government of Assam, Shri Shyam Jagannathan ji has served as Commissioner and Secretary Finance Department and Commissioner North Assam Division. He has also served as a Commissioner Commercial Taxes, Chairman Civil Supply Corporation, Department of Food and Civil Supplies, Department of Finance, Government of Kerala, and separately as District Magistrate of West Garo Hills in Meghalaya, thereby giving him the diverse exposure of 3 states, that is Assam, Kerala, and Meghalaya. He has domain knowledge in the core areas of public finance, export promotion prospective planning, public policy analysis, and sectoral exposure to animal husbandry and veterinary, rural development, and judicial processes. Presently, in the assignment of DG Shipping, an attempt is being made to leverage technology-based solutions to computerize end-to-end the workflow process of the DGS and the examination reforms for the compliance to the International Convention of STCW. Sir, your valuable insights will guide us on the regulatory vision, institutional responsibility, and future readiness of the maritime education and training in India. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Nigam Saab, and grateful to all the trainers who are here in this Maritime Training Guild. And I hope I am audible and loud and clear.
Yes, sir.
I have a brief presentation which I'll request my colleague to share, and please permit me to run you through these 8 to 9 slides, which essentially encapsulates what the maritime administration in India is looking at for maritime training, skilling, and certification of competencies. Can the presentation please be shared? We can go to the full screen mode, ma'am, if that is convenient. So the attempt is essentially made in this presentation to showcase specifically and crisply the initiatives that are on the anvil. I will not give the specific timelines because that is a more difficult call. I think we can just do with the slide sort of view, ma'am.
Yeah.
With normal magnification. So this is focused towards the theme that the Maritime Trainers Guild has undertaken, balancing human expertise and digital immersion in maritime training. Next slide, please, ma'am. We'll have to slightly reduce the size.
Which is fine.
Yes, this I think is fine because everyone is in near the screens. The vision for what we are doing in the Directorate General is essentially mentioned in the Maritime India Vision 2030 and the Maritime Amrit Kal Vision 2047. In the MIV 2030, it is in the chapter 10. And the mission is becoming top seafaring nation with world-class education, research, and training. It has four major sub-themes: promoting research and innovation, strengthening maritime education and training, building a robust seafarer-centric ecosystem, and encouraging port-led capability development. Whereas the Maritime Amritkal vision is even more futuristic, where it mentions develop world-class education, research, and training. We are on the sidelines watching the AI summit, which has been globally very well received under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister. And while speaking, it was also Captain Prabhat Nigam's submission on the use of artificial intelligence as a technology enabler. And we firmly endorse that. Next slide, please, ma'am. So based on the theme, the balance is what one has to find right. So the definition of a competent seafarer is not just on the physical certification of the health, but also on the cognitive abilities and the applied efficiency while basically on watch are addressing the specific professional mandates given on board. So we have tried to showcase that technology can be an enabler, and that can help on security front, it can help on welfare front, and also on cross-checking certain repetitive requirements and also alert systems which can be monitored given devices such as the IoT devices on board. And if you see how we are looking at it in the administration is human expertise, we are looking at inculcating that through a universalized learning management system. The issue of illicit placements or corrupt practices that are happening, addressing that with a placement portal and authentic job portal. And for the faculty, for their continuous improvement, I must commend FOSMA, which with the ISF Foundation of Mr. Pawan Kapoorji has rolled out voluntarily a faculty certification and assessment program. We intend to adopt that as a practice for the entire maritime training ecosystem. Then senior seafarer engagement is essentially what seniors can contribute back, and zero tolerance in corruption, and a comprehensive revised inspection program for maritime training institutions. And I will also speak on the digital immersion, which is shown on the right-hand part of the slide. Next slide, please. Can I please request the next slide, ma'am? Next slide, please, ma'am. Now, the problem with the 171 odd institutions is we have different faculties and different inputs, although there's a standardized time for the inputs to be provided. as per the STCW as codified in our TEEP manuals, and also the assessment framework. These are all universally standardized globally. However, the discrepancy is coming in the human abilities of one faculty in effectively giving the value dispensation in a classroom vis-a-vis another faculty. To standardize this, we are looking at technology in the sense you leverage basically a smart classroom and universal content. And this includes deep learning. So you could have the STCW content plus deep learning content for those who are intending to further go ahead, and also weave in self-assessment frameworks. Major companies such as Anglo Eastern, Mintra, Marine Pulse, Mariapps, they have all adopted this technology platform. However, these are restricted to their management application and training applications for their restricted crewing applications. We are intending to make this available free of cost to all the maritime training institutes engaged by the DGS, and also share this with the India Maritime University for the deck and the engine side for the higher competencies on the officer side. So you can see the objectives and the key functions as I mentioned: standardized, DGS compliant, immersive and AI enabled, accessible and trackable. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, we are following what FOSMA initiated as one of the best practices, where you assess the abilities of a faculty and then continually engage with the faculty for a certification. The idea is to propel an ecosystem where a maritime training institute supports institutionally its own faculty to undergo the assessment and certification. And if you certify yourself of a particular level, you also do get a higher remuneration. We need to move away from the defensive thinking of elderly seafarers who haven't found any other occasion, reverting back to basically teaching and using that as basically a fallback career. That approach has to change to good, well remunerated packages and leading leaders coming as maritime trainers. And we intend to nudge that through the faculty development program. So can I ask you to go down to the next slide, please? Now, the senior seafarers engagement is most of the senior ranks go on to amazing vessels nowadays. Technology has changed a lot. So say somebody is going on to an LNG vessel, or someone's just come fresh from basically a tanker, one of the most advanced tankers, and are a liner or a carrier, maybe a Panamax, maybe a Supramax, and he is on shore for a period of say 3 months, 6 months. The idea here is to have a systemic engagement for such leading cutting edge seafarers to share their skills with the maritime trainees. And the objective is to showcase how current knowledge is applied on board, and unique insights and anecdotes are shared so that all the maritime trainees have a ringside view of how to take things forward. Some of the seafarers may not have a dispensation to go back to the classroom again to teach, so we request them to contribute by providing papers or in certain journals of repute, which are then accessible as technical papers for those interested to contribute to the learning ecosystem. Next slide, please. Now, this is something we have been furthering. There have been multiple fake maritime training institutes. There have been batches which have been unauthorizedly provided admission, and there is offers where money changes hand illicitly. We are socially engaging on the media under a direct mandate from the Honorable Prime Minister, sir, ensuring that both in maritime training as well as in maritime skilling and crewing, there should be zero tolerance by the administration towards any fraud or any illicit practices. We're just showcasing this as an intent. Next slide, please. As was rightly mentioned by Captain Prabhat Nigam sir, and I believe all the senior maritime doyens who are there in training and skilling will rightfully agree. Technology is a major enabler. In one slide, we are trying to show what maritime administration here in India is attempting. Examination reforms. This includes not just your maritime training exit exam or your ratings exit exam, which is done by the Board of Education for Seafarers, but also the exit examination and the certificate of competency is written in oral. The antiquated technology stack on the e-Samudra will be completely changed. By July, we'll have a fully operational maritime training institute module where even the comprehensive inspection program will be completely geo-stamped and real-time photo and video capture. I mentioned the learning management system. Simulators would become also accessible to small-time institutes by bringing in web-based simulation. You don't need to actually have the entire paraphernalia for the, say, a 180-degree or a 360-degree full spectrum simulator. Those are also needed for advanced course. I'm not denying that. But low cost, two-dimensional web interface based is a much cheaper option, and the unit cost is nominal. So every MTI cadet who is basically at a pre-C also gets a fair amount of this. And of course, for the post-C, we will need them as far as full simulations are concerned, and also equating some amount of simulator time as permissible to C time. The digitization of the training and assessment record book is something which has been a very long pending ask. It streamlines everything. Fleet managers like Anglo have already done that. Even Ganpat University has offered a solution which they are willing to scale to everyone. And that will allow the ship on board berth properly utilized, and also the TAR being basically provided there for the completion of the course. The central attendance system no longer should be the old mechanical one that ensures the physical attendance of the cadet or basically the trainee at the training facility. We are proposing an online maritime certificate validation system. This is essentially anybody with foreign competencies or any competencies certified on basically the continuous discharge certificate to basically be verified online and through a platform that is validated by the maritime administration. So instead of writing by mail and then receiving a mail that this is a valid, genuine thing, you get a revert. Of course, the process is the same at the back end. You go back to the flag state confirmation. Thereafter, then basically present that confirmation in a particular manner, and that is what.
आप ऑनलाइन भी भरोगे तब भी हमारी कॉपी लाके देनी पड़ेगी आपको नहीं मुझे मैं इसीलिए तो फोन कर रही हूँ
Can I request Captain Bimal to please mute? Thank you. Captain Bimal Sharma, may kindly mute, please.
ऐसे ले लेना आप फिर निकाल लो वहां जाऊंगी
Delphin, can you mute everyone, please? Delphin.
आए की आधार की
Yes, so I hope I'm audible, and the use of analytical tools for the results, assessments, and decision making. Dynamic batch sizing is something where if your ship on board placements are not proper, the next batch for the Maritime Training Institute will get reduced automatically and dynamically, with that much of a shortfall being compensated for. A placement portal is to do away with the gray economy that exists for illicit practices for crewing, where any offer that is made by way of a communication letter for a ship on board contract or a berth even by not say the RPSL but so-called agents and touts, can be validated on this as whether it is genuine or not, and then be cross-checked. The artificial intelligence and immersive technology is what basically we are attempting in the LMS first, and then subsequently onto the other aspects. And I did speak about the faculty development program. Next slide, please. This is the biggest thing just around the corner. The Center for Development of Applied Advanced Computing and the National Testing Agency is taking over the entire end-to-end digitization. So you have these 8 modules. Now, the foot rule is the Directorate General of Shipping is stepping outside from managing the examination. That means any seafarer looking for onboarding and going ahead with his competencies during his seafaring career is assured of a solid, impregnable, completely integral system which is end-to-end online and cannot be demonstrated to have bias that I had to appear for my orals 10 times, then only I cleared it. That will go away because this system will obviate human interference or human ambiguity at all of these 8 levels end to end. And this is the biggest thing. In Noida, the pilot is near stable. I think end of March, we should be able to commission it. And by April, with all your cooperation, we should be able to roll it out for all the COC exams, written and oral, throughout the country. Next, please. As I mentioned, the new MTI module will be a definite improvement on the present painstaking module that we have, because that's on an antiquated stack. So we will be upgrading that entire stack, and hopefully it will be a very, very simplistic interface with the maritime administration, and college management and authorities, including trainees, would not have to pull or tear their hair out in frustration that the system is down or it is not working. This is what we are working towards, so that dealing with the administration is a breeze, and it is not with a human interface. It is a completely digital interface with a 24/7 grievance redressal. Next, please. As I mentioned, the web-based simulator, the singular premise out here is providing an near on-board experience by simulations, allowing mistakes to happen, capturing them on the system, and providing this through a very low-cost solution. You're not forcing a maritime training institute to invest in a simulator. The cost per cadet for a web-based simulation course would be phenomenally lesser than an actual hardware-based simulator. Of course, for post-C, we will still advocate the 180 or 270 or the 360-degree full mission bridge simulators, including the engines. Next. As I mentioned, physical simulators, this for the first time we are contemplating this. The government is having a tough time deciding how to invest capital to provide this kind of equipment to maritime training institutes, and we are working on that model. But hopefully, with your cooperation, with your support, and everybody's good wishes, we should be able to translate this as a minimum threshold technology infrastructure that is available to our seafarers. Next, please. This, of course, as I mentioned, is the central attendance software to ensure reliable physical attendance in the maritime training institutes and to have that relevant discipline with everyone in the maritime training institutes. Next, please. Now, this is one last slide I felt I should place before you, and this is our understanding, and we are working towards this. The life cycle in terms of maritime training and certification is put up into a single slide. So you see that the candidate applies at the left-hand side of the slide to the authorized DGS to enroll in a pre-C course, and then the entire journey up to the ship contract and the professional career commences with the sign-on contract. Now you see the problem on the top and the solution proposed in the blue in the bottom part of the slide. So on the top, you see there is no single digital platform to aggregate MTIs. So I remember Captain Prabhat Nikam telling me there were certain children who were there from the northern part of the country, and they were not even aware that there was a maritime training institute with Chitkara University. So they were struggling with having taken admission, paid some advances in some institution in the southern part of India, the eastern part of India, or the western part of India. And this allows a maritime cadet to visit a single portal where all MTIs are enrolled and pick and choose and basically study all the maritime training institutes, their profiles, everything that the institute is offering. And we are not getting into the fees, etc. We are just capturing the admission into the institution. The Maritime Training Institute has its own independence to structure its own fee, its services that it's providing, but there's a common admission portal. And this is largely because there was a big watershed we crossed when initially the IMU CET was the only platform where the admissions could be taken for the IMU affiliated institutions and also for the DGS accredited institutions. We brought in the JEE examinations with a circular that allowed that flexibility that if you have the JEE main score, you can take your admissions on that. So similarly, a common admission portal is around the corner. Hopefully by July, August of this year, it should be commissioned. The issue relating to the MTI generated indoors and then the exit examination, real-time attendance issues and rationalization of the CAS attendance with the actual result is not happening properly. We are revising the central attendance system to a 2.0 system. Then we have, as I mentioned, this is very, very important. No structured linkage. So some MTIs have got very good MOUs with RPSLs, which provide a higher percentage of ship on board berths. The others, they just leave the trainee pass out to the sharks. Meaning, and these are a lower percentage, but people are paying even for getting their ship on board berth, while technically we keep on holding on to that higher moral ground that no amount of money needs to be paid for a ship on board training berth. So we are mapping all the ship on board berths with a unique digital ID and offering that in a completely transparent methodology. And that is what is being attempted to be seen and done out here with the common job portal. This also will apply to added version of this being the part related to the authentic job portal. Now, equivalence to a master's degree is what somebody had asked in the message. I'll respond to those on a piecemeal basis. I'll request the Maritime Trainers Guild during the deliberations of this webinar, whatever requests come, please do share it with us officially so that we are able to work on that from the DG Maritime Training Division and revert back on that.
Will do, sir.
As I mentioned also, the digital training and assessment record book is also something which reduces, say if the 6-month mandatory training is split between 2 vessels, you don't have those transition issues, and also recording the entire performance is digitally there on a single source. Now, having said so much, I'm grateful for so much of a time this eminent forum has provided me. I have been associated for the last 2 instances of the MTG, and this is all I would appeal, that unless we move together and speak together and have our minds, then only will true harmony prevail. And thereafter, we can truly achieve the vision I showcased in the Maritime India vision and the Amritkal vision. I am grateful for the indulgence that has been done, and thank you so much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights and what regulatory vision and institutional responsibilities the DGS office is offering to this maritime fraternity, especially in the field of training. Once again, on behalf of MTG, we assure you that whatever deliberations come out of this, as a white paper, as we usually send. We will also put in some pertinent questions which are coming with the expert solutions if available here. Otherwise, we'll address it to the DGS office. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. You will have to permit me to exit as there's another parallel meeting going on.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Okay. With this, let us now start with the speakers of today. The first speaker of today is Mr. Mahesh Patil, Dean of SIMS Mumbai, Samudra Institute of Maritime Studies, that is in Mumbai. And he will be speaking on integrating the AI, AR, VR for next generation maritime training systems. For the benefit of the audience or for the information of the audience, how we have done, these are the two topics which the speakers are speaking on. One is integrating the AI VR, the other is empowering the faculty or the teachers with these tools. So the first is more like a technical thing, which will be dealt by Chief Engineer Mr. Mahesh Patil. And then the trainer's perspective or the trainers, what they need to know or where they have challenges will be dealt by Captain Viraf Chichkar, General Manager of Fleet Management Training Institution. Over to you, Mr. Patil.
Thank you, Captain Prabhat Nigam sir, for the introduction. Distinguished guests, Gurujans, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. It's my pride and privilege to present this topic, technical aspects of artificial intelligence and my favorite immersive technologies on AR, VR into maritime education and training. So next 20 to 30 minutes, we will be discussing these topics. Our Honorable DGS, Jagannathan sir, presented detailed insights on the vision and the roadmap of the context. There are other bodies such as SIRE 2.0, which is focusing on digital transformation and next major revisions coming in ISO 9001:2026. That is also aiming to modernize the QMS and address the technical integration of AI and ML. So there are current problems that we have identified and we will be trying to deliberate in this presentation. The first one, rightly said even by Prabhat sir in the beginning, the training quality of seafarers heavily depends on the sandwich pattern. It's a mixed balance between shipboard training and shore-based training at MTIs. But due to the reduced crew size and tighter work schedule, the onboard training is getting heavily affected. Second part is the application of technology. Though there are extensive studies on AR and VR in education, but still there are many areas which I feel are underexposed, and the digital literacy among the trainers is catching up. It is catching up at a fast pace. Third is there's always a question asked whether how effective it is going to be, or is there any concrete studies which will talk about effectiveness of AR VR in dealing with competencies and merit and proficiencies explained in STCW. If all goes well, then what would be the exposure limit? How many training hours can be included, and how much investment is to be done? So these are some of the questions which we'll be trying to discuss in this proposal. First, to start with artificial intelligence. We all know AI is the ability of the machine to display human-like capabilities such as reasoning, learning, planning, or creativity. First thing comes to our mind when we talk about AI is the ChatGPT, very commonly used platform. But do not use ChatGPT for everything. There are many other applications which are specifically used for tasks such as Notebook LM. So Notebook LM is very common platform to be used by the students where they can put large amount of documents onto the AI tool, and the tool helps them to create a simplified version of it, a concise version. It can also give an audio-visual guide for easy understanding. There is one more tool which I have been using, Perplexity. So Perplexity is very good research and citation tool. It keeps a track of all the citations, all the content which you are accessing over the internet, and it arranges in a chronological order. It also keeps a track of the progress. You all might be aware of the recent wave generated by Cloud AI. So Cloud AI is a tool that can now, it has enhanced its capability. It can now do the coding, and even it can build a complete app that can be deployed on the tab or on the mobile phones. And there are many more applications. They keep coming up. The same applications keep getting upgraded. So the trainers should look into these apps also instead of just relying on ChatGPT. It's all about what you prompt. So prompt engineering is one more vast topic, because ultimately it is the machine which is going to create things for you. So we need to master the AI with our thoughts, with our words. The giving the prompts is very important. There are different techniques of giving the prompts. There are 0 shots, there are few shots, as well as there is a step-by-step breakdown of the complete project where you can give shots of small projects to tasks to the AI and get it done from it. This is called chain of thoughts. Our next speaker, Captain Bira, he will be giving a detailed insight and taking you step-by-step through how prompts are to be given and how to get the things done from the AI. I would like to move on to our own institute, Samudra Institute of Maritime Institutes, EPSS, Blended Learning Platform. This is an AI adaptive model learning management system. It is designed to deliver intelligent, adaptive, and learner-centric experience for incorporating AI-driven capabilities. It also has got AI embedded assessment system. This system uses adaptive learning, that means the system is learning to evaluate students' performance. So when the questions are asked to the students, the difficulty level of the questions is automatically adjusted to the learner's ability to answer. So by doing this, by introduction of AI embedding, the questions are optimized, the challenges are optimized to enhance the learner's engagement, his own knowledge retention, and it enables the software to precisely evaluate the candidate. This is an example of the learning outcome that is generated by our LMS. I will zoom. So as you can see, this is the outcome for a DNS course, batch strength 40. The system is generating these reports in a real time. It gives insights such as performance concerns. Now the class average is only 26%. 40 students are having low engagement. 10% students are at a risk of failing. This is a weak student tracking. Or 4 students have average score of 171, and these are the star performers. So for a average faculty or for any given faculty, it is very difficult to track the weak students or to track the bright students in a class. It will take at least 1 week of time, but for a software, it is just a matter of minutes and it gives the result. So this is the computational capability of AI that can be further explored. Next wonderful thing of AI is virtual reality. Now, virtual reality is a complete immersive experience in an environment that is generated by the software. On the screen, what you are seeing is a walkthrough virtual engine room. This simulator is a full mission simulator developed by Kongsberg, and I got an opportunity to carry out research activities, interact with the students at Tolani Maritime Institute. So the outcome of research indicated this tool is having good capability of enhancing the effectiveness and the training outcomes. But at the same time, many students reported while using the headgear, they felt side effects such as discomfort, nausea, motion sickness, and around 25% of students, they reported they start feeling these effects within first 15 minutes of usage. So this is a side effect of using the headgear for a prolonged period. Another good application of AI is augmented reality. So augmented reality overlays the computer generated digital elements on the real world. The example here we will be discussing in detail is a simulator developed at Samudra Institute, Intelligent Ship in Campus. This overlays the elements on the real world. The technology holds immense potential to enhance maritime training. Particularly, it can be extended to the realm of navigation, maintenance, and operations of critical equipment. So we will be going through the development process. The complete development process can be broken down into 3 major steps. One is creating algorithms, then the digitalization. We need to create a digital twin or a digital replica of existing machines which are going to be used for augmented reality. So 3D scanning is used. After that, the elements which are to be superimposed have to be created digitally. These elements have to be anchored exactly at the precise location where they have to function. So that goes into the next stage of developing the application. So superimposing the 3D models and text on AR application, then creating animations to show the working machine, launching and developing the app with the machine, and then training the machine to detect the objects in the real time. The last part of application development is creating an interface, human-machine interface, and then the ways and means to collect the data generated during the training process. So there are various tools that can be used for creating an AR experience. Digitalization first stage can be done by using LiDAR scan. This is a camera which scans the models and it generates a digital image, a 3D model, which can be further enhanced and developed or detailed by using C++ programs. More digital and so soft images can be generated or 3D images can be generated by using software such as Maya and Blender. Superimposing these models is a difficult task. So Azure spatial anchors are to be used to anchor the digital elements at the right location. For development phase, Unity is presently a very good app which can provide integration of all the tools commonly used for generation of 3D elements, for anchoring them, and generation of AR software. AR software was generated by using Euphoria. This tool is an SDK, that is software development kit. It provides comprehensive tool for wide range of AI application. It has a huge library. Its robust tracking capability uses ease of integration with Unity is the best fit for developing the applications. Then last phase is interfacing. Interfacing, there are two methods which can be used. One is by using a mobile tab or a handheld device. For this, we need an Android base. And second one is by using a head-mounted gear. It can be a MS HoloLens or a MetaQuest or a Magic Leap. So these softwares are commonly used for developing the AR experience. So the images shows of the software built by our team at Samudra Institute. We also used some coding help from external vendors. So on the figure, what you can see is an existing freshwater generator in our ship in campus, whereas figure 2 shows the augmented reality elements, software elements superimposed on the model. You can see the extra pipings, overboard valves, ejector pump, the complete panel, gauging system, instrumentation, salinometer, etc. So these are virtually superimposed elements. The name that we gave for this software is ISIC, Intelligent Ship in Campus. I would like to take you through this small video clips which shows how the app is being launched and how it can be used. So this is a handheld tab. It launches like any application, and then we get a menu of we can either start the machine or put it into various watch keeping exercises. These watch keeping exercises are with manipulated parameters where student has to do troubleshooting. So moment you switch on this app, the camera turns on, point out the tab towards the screen.
An inquiry for testing of 500 patients for benefit as well CMS project. So that was kept on hold by them earlier, and they yesterday approached me back asking me the pricing details, and I think we discussed actually about the pricing and get send the pricing on the market.
Delphin, please mute the non-speakers.
So now they have come back and give a confirmation about the pricing and everything, and again they requested from some information to ask.
So you can see this is a wonderful app to step-by-step guide the students to start, stop machinery and to do the watch keeping exercises. Basically, it brings the equipment live. The data that can be collected is as seen on the screen. The student has to enter his name, roll number, and the parameters what he is reading. If he feels everything is well, then he can submit the logbook. Or if he feels some parameters, if he feels some parameters are not right, then he has to go to the add remarks next screen where there will be prompts where he can add. He has to choose what deficiencies, defects he noted, or what troubleshooting measures he has to take. So this is how a complete data of the student is gathered for further processing and data analysis. All right. After deploying this training methodology, there were questions asked or raised how effective it is. Is it really impacting the training? So further investigations were done, pilot studies were done on other simulators as well, and a large amount of data was collected and feedbacks were generated. So the data to analyze was focused mainly on the factors associated with overall training effectiveness, that is skill acquisition and knowledge retention. So here the figure shows the underlying factors which are affecting the training effectiveness of the maritime cadets. This includes training approach, what method of training is used, whether it is a classroom-based training or it is a ship-in campus training or a navigation simulator or some teaching aids are used. Then second factors is like learners' own motivation, engagement levels, the content complexity, learning environment, fear, noise, smoke, etc. Especially in case of training like firefighting, welding, duration of exposure, duration of training, and training skills. So these factors were these hypothetical factors were statistically tested, and a sound factorial analysis was done to reveal the outcomes, which showed there is a significant correlation and interdependency between retained knowledge, acquired skill, and training applicability. How well the students can perform when they go on board, or how they can return the knowledge back to the industry. So after doing steps of 1, 2, and 3 to training effectiveness, then next question comes optimization of augmented reality, how to integrate it optimally into the maritime training. So to study this factor, I got an opportunity to explore an welding simulator at Tolani Maritime Institute. It's a soldomatic augmented reality based welding simulator which is used for training BTech cadets for various 2G, 3G up to 6G welding techniques. So an exploratory research was conducted here for over a period of 3 years. More than 400 students were sampled. Students were undergoing AR training, conventional workshop training, as well as classroom-based training. The institute had stipulated total 72 hours of training under the guidance of Indian Maritime University. So an exhaustive triangulation was done using software such as SPSS AMOS to build a structural equation model, and later multiple regressions were done to optimize the training hours. So as you can see on the screen, 15 hours of classroom-based training, 33 hours of hands-on training in the workshop, that is the skill-based training, actual welding work, and 24 hours of augmented reality simulator training gives the best result. So similarly, any simulator or any training methodology can be used, can be optimized, and exposures can be measured. But coming to the challenges and limitations that we faced during the development stage. So high precision was required during the rendering of the components, and accuracy was needed while installing them. And complex data needs integrated, CAD models and real-time data needs to be integrated. That calls for high computational capability. Then user experience and interface is another important. The UI which is developed finally has to go through iterations to make sure it is user friendly and it is following complete functionality as stipulated by the STCW codes functional requirements. Real-time performance is another issue where we need continuous tracking and rendering when the device, handheld device or the tab is moved around the equipment. Environmental adaptability. There are different lighting conditions during different times, or sometimes the machinery color shades may change. So the device must be adaptable to various environmental conditions. Sorry. So other barriers which became as adaptation barriers from the management, from the instructors, where when changing from digital to conventional to digital, that had to be overcome, and cost and sustainability issues which are getting proved day by day over the time. So to summarize with, inclusion of AI, ML or AR, MR has tremendous potential in maritime education and training to build and access competencies and also to assess proficiencies. This is an effective remote application. It can bridge the gap between the shipboard training and the shore-based institutes, as I mentioned earlier. The research has been also proved that there's a significant reduction in head-down time factor of about 2.6 and head-down occurrences of 62% for navigating officers when they are doing bridge watchkeeping. Then this has got a capability of conducting the training in a risk-free environment, which eliminates hazards, emissions, toxic smoke. So that these are sometimes as a barrier to effective learning. Enhanced maritime experience. Up to 8% of engagement improves knowledge retention by 40 to 70% and practical skill development enhancement of 15 to 25%. And this system has got capability to meet the compliances and regulatory requirements stipulated by the industry. So finally, I would like to conclude by saying AI tools can be used effectively for and has to be used effectively for quality enhancement, and they should not be looked upon as a cost-cutting measure. So with that, I come to an end. I would like to thank MTI for giving me an opportunity to speak. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Indian Maritime University, Samudra Institute of Maritime Studies, Olani Maritime University, and HIMT for directly and indirectly guiding the research work and collecting the information that was presented during the webinar. So thank you everyone once again. Over to Nigam sir. Thank you.
वेरी नाइस मिस्टर महेश पाटिल सर, बहुत अच्छा आपने बताया. इट्स वेरी गुड प्रेजेंटेशन है. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Patil,
thank you,
can
Mr.
you
Patil.
stop sharing your screen,
Yeah.
please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Patil. It was very insightful and technicalities were discussed, and I could see a lot of people in the chat praising that. Very informative.
Thank you, sir.
That's very nice, and that's a way to go forward, especially when we are talking about how to balance the technology with the skills of the teacher. And with this, I call upon
Captain Nigam, your screen has frozen.
Prabhat, you were frozen sometime back. We could not hear you. Can you just?
Captain Nigam?
Yeah, there was no power, so I am on my phone now. While I was speaking, could you hear me?
Yes, you could.
Could you hear me saying that Captain Viraf, please do your presentation?
No. You have not introduced Virat yet.
Okay, Captain Viraf, General Manager, FMTI, is coming with his presentation on teachers' perspective use of AI, AR/VR.
Thank you so much, sir. Uh, Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanking, first of all, MTG. Am I audible? Can I just confirm audio
Yes,
video?
loud and clear.
Yeah,
Loud and
thank you.
clear.
So to thank MTG for allowing this platform for a lot of experts. And by experts, I don't just mean the speakers or panelists today. A quick look into the attendees in the audience also. There are people who are extremely well versed with AR, AI, and have immense knowledge on this. Some of them have presented in previous MTG sessions. So I would request them to interrupt me at any stage if you can augment anything that I'm saying or anything contrary to what I'm saying. Please feel free to interrupt me. It's it's a very brief presentation, just a dozen slides, simply because Mr. Patil was very kind enough to share his presentation in advance, and the immense effort he has done on the technical aspects of uh, of this is proof enough that I have very little to work up ahead. Beyond that, of course, the fact that respect there's much more for the panel to deliberate and very little for me to do now. So I'll just go ahead. I'll be wound up before time, I'm sure. May I inquire if my screen is visible on full screen mode?
Not yet.
It's not on full screen.
Sorry.
It's on presentation mode. That means we can see both your slides.
I'm so sorry about that. Let me. Yes, I don't seem to have the access. I'll just give me one moment to.
Duplicate, we have to duplicate the screen. So in that small thing.
No, he doesn't have access to do that at the moment.
I don't have access at the moment, sir.
Doesn't matter. Let's continue. Let's continue.
Just one moment, sir. I'll try again.
Captain Bira, you have to stop sharing, and then
It's
again
fine.
you
It's fine now. It's fine. It's fine now.
Yeah,
It's fixed. It's
Yes.
fixed, sir. Apologies.
right.
We use Teams. I'm not entirely familiar with Zoom. I hope it's visible full screen now. I believe there was some confirmation.
Yes, it is full
It's-
screen now.
Thank you so much. So beyond the title slide, you can see that I have chosen to refer to AI as the Swiss knife of maritime education and training, and that's done with intent, and which will be kind of elaborated on the next few slides. This is something which, the august audience that we have today, we have come to terms that it's Darwin theory of evolution. If we as an industry, not just trainers, but as an industry all told, are to be resistive of this, some may call it disruptive or intrusive, but the technology is here to stay. So we will have to adapt. We are well beyond the point where we have a choice in this. It's literally the same like seafarers today, navigators today don't have a choice, uh, you know, between an EGDIS or a paper chart. So it's coming in. So Mr. Patil briefly spoke about this, and thanks for the heads up. He said that Viraf is going to kind of elaborate on this. So that's really what AI is. It's only amplifies the user's intelligence. Truly speaking, that would be a better definition of AI. Yeah, see, even GPT, and thanks to Prabhat sir the other day, he highlighted that how many people know, uh, the full form of generated pre-trained transformer. GPT itself, the name itself implies that the P is pre-trained. So the data you are going to get is generating from a pre-trained module. So there is human intervention. Yes, AI will speed up or amplify things, but at the end of the day, it is based on a pre-training uh, database. So that database has to, number one, be a very accurate source, and we will go around the next few slides how you can ensure that. And it's like a Swiss knife as to which tool do you use. And again, the previous speaker spoke about various AI tools. Which tool is best suited for the job? You can't use obviously a knife where a spanner is required, or corkscrew for that matter. So I've actually, there was on the first slide you saw an image. I've actually put verbatim the text which I put into the free chat GPT, of course, and the outcomes. I've just cropped the images so that it fits on the slide. So my queries are verbatim out there. Share a few images depicting AI as a Swiss knife for maritime education. That's the first image which came in. It was nice, but it didn't entirely satisfy my requirements. So I put in a second query. Please refine the image to be more training specific. Show it to be used by a trainer. And of course, I wanted a desi flavor to it. So I gave that last query, and that's the end result. So typically, this is just a rudimentary slide which says that, look, we have AI, but it's a question of training ourselves to know how to use it to the best outcome. Which means that as a trainer, no two trainers will be able to use this tool to equal strengths. It will still be a trainer-driven exercise. One trainer may not be as good as the other. Now, the beauty of AI is that, as far as possible, if it knows it's wrong, it cannot lie. Now, I actually asked ChatGPT that how many times you have landed up giving the wrong answer and you were corrected by a human being. And it came up in terms of maritime education and training, it came up with a very honest reply. So that is something that if you put the correct series of questions, unlike human beings, it has no bias, it has no error rate provided the data set is correct. It is consistent, it is standardized, it cannot lie. ChatGPT self-declared how many of the items based on maritime education and training it has gone wrong in the past. It self-declared this one about Rule 19. Because of the fact that ChatGPT is pre-trained, it is picking up data which is existing on the internet. And as we all know, not all data on the internet is very, very accurate. So yes, it admitted that it used to give a wrong AI output, that Rule 19, it's in your face. Each navigator understands that when you're discussing call regs, you can't be discussing AIS. And that's what the declaration came in. So that's the image. Again, very little work to be done in making these dozen slides. I asked AI to give me an image which depicts that if AI was a Swiss knife, how it would cause an injury. Believe me, this image was a little difficult to generate because It also gave me a repeated warning that AI can't help you with violence or suicidal or damaging images. So it took me a while to get this image. Had to be certain workarounds, but there was a lot of interaction, and I'm expressing my own emotions when using this. There was a lot of interaction with artificial being. So it's not as non-human as one might think. It does tend to negotiate with you as well. It tries to express itself. Uh, just a few users cases. Mr. Patil was very elaborate on how to use AI. Here, the whole idea of this brief presentation is where, as trainers, as marine professionals, whether you're on the administrative side, manning side, whether you are a stakeholder, you own this enterprise where you can use AI with its limitations. A very text heavy slide. And I need to thank Mr. Kirtan Vakil. I saw Mr. Tirth Vakil in the audience. As Mr. Patil also credited HIMT. HIMT is amongst many one of the front runners in AI, VR, etc. So I did have a brief chat with him, and Mr. Kirtan was very kind enough and gracious enough to share his views. He was one of the key presenters last year in August on MTG's seminar at Delhi. So the next two slides, there are buy-in from Mr. Vakil, not Dr. Vakil, who is an expert as well, but Mr. Kirtan Vakil on this and the next slide. So, of course, we are all aware that researching the data is extremely uh, ease of research of data has become much better. That being said, again, a disclaimer, a lot of stuff needs your final judicious filtering as well. Of course, once you have the correct reference material, once you've done your due diligence, creating course content by these kind of, whether it's images, whether it is using tools like Gamma for PPT, textual, audio, video, visual content, you can do what is called synthetic engineering. You can actually take a few clips, maybe 2 minutes of clips, and expand it to a 15-minute session, depending on what you want to this thing. So the whole presentation can be amplified. Again, I'm using the word amplified from a, let's say, a 2-minute database into a 15-minute very relevant database. So it's all about using the tool to amplify your own skill set. You can create multiple, and these are text heavy, but we'll see a lot of video coming up to elaborate on these points. Multiple data sets, evaluation. Patilji spoke about automatic evaluation that happens on a textual platform. Later on, you'll see how it's even more complex solutions are available on evaluation. As respected DG sir said, it's going to come in very soon in the DGS scheme of things, not just on traditional, chalk and talk based outcomes evaluation, but a lot more things are going to come in ahead. I will leave it to the authorities to declare it officially. But the next few slides will be talking about things which are going to come in soon as a flag approved solution. AI for automated assessment scoring, feedback analysis. Now, this is interesting, dynamically generating assessment and lesson plans. Now, the one thing AI or a computer-based solution is a bit better in terms of design is when we are on a chalk and talk session or a teaching aid session. What happens is a classroom of 1 hour will deliver on a uniform pace in just about that much depth, which is designed for the average student in that classroom. Now, he or she, the person delivering, can only do it at an average pace in the confines of the classroom, detailed teaching syllabus, course outline. What happens is in that classroom, you have some people who are average at grasping, who are extremely good at grasping, and that group tends to get bored. And then there are some people who need a little more effort. That 1 hour should have been 1.5 hours for them. Now, that is one design limitation of classroom-based training. Now, if you were to supplement, the entire premise of all these tools is to supplement, not replace the classroom environment. If you were to supplement it with a computer-based design pattern, which not just is flexible. Let's say you have a playback speed. It's very common that you see in these CBTs, playback speed going faster, slower as per the student's design, but also a AI-driven lesson plan, which means the AI is monitoring how the student, is this a student which needs very less time, very less emphasis on a topic? What are the topics that the person, just skirted past, or what are the topics that the AI felt was focusing a lot, the student was focusing a lot, repeating, zooming in, zooming out on the images, etc. And in turn, it will generate a dynamic assessment. So when there are self-assessment patterns, it will ask the student or the learner questions based on his or her study pattern. Now, depending on that, the outcome of that self-assessment, the AI will then link back saying, oh, you didn't do too well. Oh, you were studying like this, but you seem to struggle a bit. You took some extra time on the question related to CATSOC. Would you like to have a brief look through to the CATSOC session again? Or you got this answer wrong, which means the entire learning plan is now customized to that user, and not just to that user, but that user's pattern for that date and time. Person may be exhausted, maybe slower. So it's dynamically changing. Now that can only be done by AI. And there are a lot of solutions already. We will show you examples of multiple and randomized simulator-based exercises. Now that can be on a cloud simulator, that can be AI-driven, but it can also help a simulator operator to create more exercises, dynamically different. Right now, we typically see a physical simulator, the exercise was made. We tend to keep that exercise for a little longer than necessary. It's very typical. It is very stereotypical, I would say. Contingency, oh, the gyro failed. Oh, there's a fire on deck. So there is a limit to the entire exercise based on the simulator operator's imagination. Now, AI can aid in that imagination, can keep on randomizing, keep on advising, would you like this option? Would you like that option? Again, the next video will be a little better about the next AI-driven auto monitoring, trend analysis, feedbacks, wrong answer summaries. We've got a few hundred people answering. Amongst those 100 are 60 people typically struggling on one series of answers. Then maybe, just maybe, the trainer has not delivered, or the material needs to be more emphasizing on that subject. AI can do that job. Right now, it's been done, but it's a manual process. It is a bit tedious. It is human error linked. It is human bias linked. We've already spoken about cell-driven tutorial modules and searchable data banks. Again, better explained a few slides down the line. VR, AR, excellent example by Mr. Patil and Sims. You have a physical freshwater generator. You overlay it with artificial intelligence. It guides you on the paths. It guides you on checklists. It guides you on PMS system. So AR is all about having a physical environment, the physical freshwater generator overlaid with a digital overlay. Now imagine that at Samudra, and now visualize that while at sea. Now you have cheaper, VSAT is now become a thing of the past. You have LEO satellites. Marlink Starlink is giving very good speed at negligible rates. Imagine conducting the training remotely for your ship staff. Imagine one of your trainees struggling with a freshwater generator or an egg dish. Today, we provide guidance remotely. At our establishment, we provide guidance to about 650 vessels on egg dish, but we are limited to photographs, screenshots, email interactions. Emails can be very time consuming, cannot achieve the same effect of talking the talk when it's live. AR does that. AR glass in front of the egg dish, I can see what the trainee is touching. I can see the response from the machine. That's all about AR. It's not just about and let's be pragmatic here. If we only use tech for training, we won't get the investment from the industry. There has to be return on investment. There has to be a situation where I can prevent 1200 euros worth of egg dish technician from JRC bill. So I've got Captain Haran also helping me with some kind of highlighting. Best of both worlds. Yes, sir. We do agree with that. Thank you for highlighting that word on my behalf. Appreciate the highlight pen assistance. Moving forward, just a small video clip. This is, as most of you recognize, cloud simulators have been in since, I guess, June 2020, amplified due to COVID. But this is not a training module. We know that cloud has been used for training for a long time, but this is an assessment module. So this is a cloud-hosted simulator with a backend AI assessing the user's actions. Now, what really happens here is, and why should we leave friends on the technical side out? It's an assessment which is happening on the actual job skills of the user. So it's not asking, please quote Rule 19. It's actually introducing a fog and measuring which user detects that fog at, let's say, 7 miles, 6.5 miles, etc. And what are the actions? Were they done appropriately? Were all the actions taken? Were they done in the correct sequence? We all know what's to be done in restricted visibility, but it is better evaluated, more accurately evaluated, and scored and assessed in terms of live action. The same thing can be done and is being done. The last one we've been running since, I guess, August 2022. This one's been assessing our in-house engineers since more than a year and a half. 27 different panels will assess why the blackout happened, could it have been prevented, what were the prevented actions, how soon were they detected, everything on a very standardized platform. And more importantly, the two clips you saw is the acceptance from the trainer. If we have somebody sitting in a classroom providing feedback to a trainer, just because a trainee, I apologize, the trainer is wearing a tie, culturally that will be accepted, because person's tie, he or she is got a position of power. I will nod my head. I will say, yes, sir. Okay, sir. I understand, sir. But internally, has your trainee accepted that feedback? Yes, the answer could be yes, accepted feedback. No, maybe a mental state where they say, oh, this man is, or trainer is so old, he hasn't been on a vessel for 15 years. He is not really in good shape to comment on my expertise. Or it could be, oh, this lad is too young. I have been sailing out at sea for 40 years. He's not going to be the one who I'm going to take feedback from. Now, when a computer gives that feedback, it is neutral, it is unbiased, it doesn't really care about your age, your background experience. The acceptance of feedback from our seafarers has been outstanding. So that is a plus, a collateral plus. We spoke about Chat GPT designed and the risk of getting output which is accurate or inaccurate. So you can have something like which is happening on the screen. You don't have to expose your search function to the entire World Wide Web where there are lotuses floating around and there are lotuses floating around in a sewage tank. So you can decide to have a closed environment search pattern. In this case, the closed environment are the SMS manuals of fleet management. So it will give you responses exactly about your doubts on what the company feels is the correct approach to this. What are the official responses, the methods, the explanations, which are based on a closed environment, on a set of manuals which have been vetted, which have been created by 15, 20 key experts on that subject. So the outcome is very, very methodological. It is reasonably accurate and error free. So you can have this kind, and you can have an evaluation out there the way you see it on the screen. Now that was from a learner's perspective. Now imagine if this is not a company manual. Imagine if this is a manual for your main engine. And imagine the potential of having that data. When you have a manual, yes, you have that manual, but the average ECDIS manual is about 600 pages. Okay, today they are digital. When the ECDISs came in, they were hard copies. Trying to get the correct answer when you're in pilotage and something goes wrong is time consuming. This is an aid. It works fast, it works efficiently. Similar thing, an aid for trainers and assessors. Uniqueness of questions, the volumes of questions were limited to the accuracy and efficiency and the imagination of the trainer. What if the tool could help you create? And mind you, here too, we do understand, if you see there's an edit button, we do understand that the outcome may not be to your satisfaction. So there is also an edit button. You don't have to take everything verbatim. So you can generate this basis, and these are kind of live examples that we have been working with for some time. The next one, of course, Patil sir showed something similar, was an AR based one. We have a virtual reality one, which you see two motion sensitive cameras. We see one of my colleagues trying to do overhead pipe welding. We can decide what kind of material, what should be the job scope. It allows overhead, everything. And today the video is just showing a welding VR a session, whether it is 3G, 6G. It's showing you motion sensitive cameras measuring the work angle, the travel speed, and the AI is measuring has the correct the electrical settings are correct, has the selection of the electrode been appropriate to the task at hand, has there been good weld penetration, has the user moved his or her hand too fast or too slow, causing a lot of problems, what is the extent of gas entrapment, porosity, everything which a human being can identify a very bad well, but unfortunately, all of us will struggle on a moderately bad well till it fails 2 years down the road. But this one will tell you how good or bad the job is and even where the person is going wrong. So it's a skill enhancement tool. This can be adapted, and we do have, you can see that little butterfly spray machine tip at the bottom of the image. The same thing is done to enhance, evaluate and enhance our spray painting skill sets for our ratings. And this is the next level. Here we are getting outcome. The user should also have the correct touch and feel of it, the job. Here the smoke was missing, the heat was missing, but eventually when you are using VR, you want that virtual environment to give you much more feedback, only not just on your hand. So this is the future of using VR with haptic. Most of us now know what are haptic points. It gives you a stimuli out there. So it will give you pressure. It will load up when you're picking up weight. You can feel if something is hot, maybe. So this is pretty much what VR is right now. Going forward, it's going to be much this and much more. So, simple petition. Right now we are here, and we all would hope to be pretty much here. Thank you so much for the time. Whenever, if sir feels question answers right now or later, entirely the call of the MC for the event today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention.
Thank you, Viraf. Viraf is, as I said, General Manager of FMTI, and also he wears another hat of MTG. He is the Cardinal Head of West India. Thank you, Viraf. Questions we'll keep for the end when we have the open house. People can note down or put in their questions in the chat, and then we can pick it up from there. Now we
Very well.
start. Now we start with our panel discussion. Let me just. Mr. David Birvedkar is moderating the panel discussion. He's the Director Strategy Development for HIMT Chennai. And David, you can introduce your topic and this panelist, please. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhat. I hope I'm audible and also visible. So we had a lovely presentation by the respected DG sir, and also two lovely presentations by Mahesh Patil and Viraf. Of course, both are very well known for their engagement in these topics, and I'm sure added a lot of value to the audience here today. The next topic is also very relevant, and I think we are going to have some brilliant interaction on that. Once again, good afternoon to all the distinguished leaders and esteemed guests. So today's discussions addresses a subject that sits at the intersection of regulation, academic quality, faculty sustainability, and technological evolution. The framework of designated teaching hours in maritime training. The Directorate General of Shipping has prescribed a ceiling of 18 teaching hours per week for faculty, combining both pre-C and post-C programs. On paper, obviously, it's a clear compliance metric, but in practice, it represents much more. Behind every classroom hour lies substantial invisible effort, lesson preparations, simulator planning, student mentoring, interview panels, question bank preparations, examination settings, answer script corrections, audit readiness, documentation, and administrative responsibilities. At the same time, we are now witnessing, as we discuss now, rapid integration of AI tools, advanced simulators, AR/VR systems, and digital learning platforms. These technologies promise efficiency, standardization, and enhance experimental learning. But the question remains, do they truly reduce faculty workload, or do they really redistribute it? Should teaching hours be increased to deepen structured engagement? Should they be reduced to allow space for innovation and quality enhancement? Or should we, in fact, move beyond counting hours altogether and focus on measurable learning outcomes? Today's panel brings together experienced principal directors who manage these realities daily, balancing compliance, quality, infrastructure, student expectations, and faculty well-being. So our aim is not to debate regulation versus institutions, but to explore how designated hours can best serve the future of maritime educations. Our panelists, as I mentioned, are very inspiration and seasoned industry personnel who have been involved with the training of seafarers for decades. Francis Akara, Director and Principal Anglo-Eastern Maritime Training Center, Captain C.L. Dubey, Director, Mumbai Maritime Training Center, Captain Philip Matthews, Seven Island Maritime Training Foundation, and Captain Anand Subramaniam, Principal HIMT College. They need no introduction, so we straight away jump into our panel discussion. Francis, in fact, has another urgent engagement and has requested to be relieved by 4:45. I know we are slightly short of the time, but maybe I would request him to give me 5 minutes more. So I'll directly direct my first set of questions to him. And probably, as I mentioned, 3 minutes for the first answer, 2 minutes for the second, and 2 minutes for the third. These questions have also been incorporated basis question received from the industry via a shared form, which we have received a few responses. So, Francis, hello to you. And as I mentioned, as an institutional leader, you must balance DG's compliance with training outcomes. So, should designated teaching hours remain a uniform ceiling across all program types, or should institutions be allowed flexibility based on infrastructure and faculty strength? Over to you, Francis.
Thanks, David, for the question. Can you all hear me well?
Loud and clear.
Okay, thanks. So it's a very relevant question with respect to the timing that DG has administered. I feel that we should comply to the IMO and the DG's regulation with respect to the time. But at the same time, if you reduce the prescribed time, the faculty could certainly involve in various activities which will enhance the training standards, training quality. This could be a part of the research. It could be a part of developing training content. So if it is a rule across all the training institutes, if you really look at the training institutes quality in India, or the spectrum of training centers in India, they are widely varied. So as rightly asked the question, it would be prudent for a training institute which has got various facilities like simulator, workshop facility, practical equipments, etc. Then we could probably consider giving less time for them to teach and then do more of a research and developing the training content. So even the assessment process, like the speakers have rightly mentioned, we could also use some kind of AI tools to develop an assessment tool, which of course has to be mandated by the trainer. So in order to conclude the question and the answer to the question, it should be institute specific, which could be based on the CIP score or the industry reputation. The director or the principal could give less time for teaching and more time for developing the training content and the training courses for the improvement of overall Indian maritime training standards. Over to you, David.
Thank you, Francis. I'm not going to make any inference of that. I will leave it to the August audience. And especially since you are a bit tied up, I want to ask you one more question, Francis. See, basically on aging faculty and challenges to employ younger faculty, which we have discussed. So what are the challenges to employ younger trainers? Why should we employ younger trainers? See, we currently seem to prefer senior faculty members. So is this out of lack of choice, or are they preferred due to their experience? How can we build a stronger community of trainers by employing both younger and experienced senior trainers?
It will be a right mix of experience and younger trainers, because we need to pass on the baton to the youngsters. So when I say youngsters, they are more relevant to the current technology, current type of ships, current type of trades. While if we have got experienced trainers, they will bring their expertise, their experience, which is for no other excuse at all. There is no other solution for experience in the maritime field to educate the youngsters. So one of the main challenges that I find in attracting the youngsters is the remuneration that an institute can afford to pay is a big challenge, especially when the US dollar against Indian rupees going to more than 90 rupees. It is very, very difficult to attract youngsters. And when the youngsters are coming with more of a financial burden and less commitment, which is the trend that I'm seeing around. But at the same time, like you said, if you extend the years of service of the experienced people, there should be a way and a method to bring the latest technology, latest regulatory requirements to the senior people, so that they are also up to the speed, so that they are not going to miss out on the latest developments in the industry. So even attending a training program conducted by a senior faculty or a younger faculty, there should not be much of a difference in the delivery. So the students should not miss out on the quality of the delivery, which is very important. So there are always ways and means to bring up the quality of elder faculty, and then also to bring up the younger faculty with experience of the senior faculty. It is always, like I said, a mix of younger faculty and the senior faculty would be ideal for a training institute.
Thank you, Francis. Permit me to ask you one last quick question before you leave. So I feel that based on what you said, now AI tools now assist in content drafting, test creation, analytics, and even student tracking. So from an administrative point of view or standpoint, have these tools meaningfully reduced workload or have expectations simply expanded to fill the time saved?
Actually speaking, AI help the trainers and institutes to bring down some certain amount of work, but at the same time, I will say it is not shrunk the job, but at the same time, it is shifted the job to a different level. So now by using the AI tool, what is actually happening is people could generate questions, we could generate training content, they could even generate visuals, which otherwise would not have been possible. Say, for example, we have showed a picture of a cut finger being cut by a knife. So similarly, we could also generate videos or pictures of gentlemen or a crew lying in dead in an enclosed space, kind of things, which will add quite a bit of a value. But at the same time, the challenge here is the content has to be verified by the experienced person or a trainer. Then only you will be able to use it for a training program. Even for generating questions, the relevance, the difficulty level, all has to be checked and verified by the trainer. Yes, it is very good to make a trend analysis, good to make a dashboard, and at the same time, the expectation of the quality of the job that is coming out or the data that is coming out is also gone to a higher level. So, like I said, it is not going to save any human manpower, but the expectation of the management on the delivery of the work has gone higher. So that the overall efficiency of the training institute has gone up. That's what my view.
Thank you, Francis, and thank you so much for bearing with us. And I know that you have a very important meeting, which may have already started. So thank you for staying back and answering the questions. Again, I mentioned that I will not make any inference on this or probably ask questions, unfortunately, since your time is short. But we will leave it to the August audience to think about the rationality of all the points which have been expressed. So thank you, Francis. As and when you feel convenient, you can leave. As per your requirement.
Thanks very much for calling me and inviting me for the forum.
Pleasure.
Thanks to the audience, everybody, including the teacher.
Thank you. We move on to Philip Matthews. Again, he also has something urgent coming up. So, of course, we all know Philip with his years and years of experience in the maritime industry and especially training, and one who is also known for speaking his mind out without hesitation. So, ladies and gentlemen, Philip Matthews for you. Philip, good afternoon to you again. My question to you is, in earlier decades, teaching hours were often higher and technology support minimal. Comparing then and now, has the faculty workload increased or decreased despite the 18-hour cap? Philip, you're mute.
Thank you, David, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. I see a lot of people here, seniors like my guru in SCI, Rai Saab, and so many other people, Kamal Chadda ji, Dubey Saab, and everything. An excellent program, I would say. Hearing people like the two speakers earlier who presented papers was wonderful. Well, I may be speaking out of what I feel, so I will just go right into it. In the earlier decades, the maritime training institutes in India demanded longer teaching hours from faculty, often without the benefit of any technological advantage. Today, there is an official cap of 18 hours per week. The reality in many pre-C, I look after mainly pre-C training institutes. So pre-C training institutes is that the faculty workload has actually decreased. There is little emphasis or interest on research, innovation, or extra initiatives, which is the need of the hour, but then nothing happens. I observe that nearly 4 hours daily are effectively wasted due to underutilization of faculty time. This under engagement has wider consequences. The general whispers that teachers are underpaid or undervalued stems directly from this 18-hour cap in certain manner. When the faculties are restricted to teach limited hours, their contribution appears diminished, even though maritime education requires far more than just classroom instructions. Teachers should be actively engaged in mentoring cadets, driving research, or shaping professional standards. Raising the weekly cap to around 24 hours would ensure better utilization of faculty, reduce idle time, and foster more disciplined and productive learning environment. It would also help restore the perception of faculty as central to the training process, thereby addressing concerns of undervaluation. Teachers like Joseph, Ravari, Subramaniam didn't have any time limitations. We need to create people like them. DGS and IMU should revisit. Unfortunately, I don't see DG shipping here, but I see somebody there. Else, I had brought this to the notice of the Vice Chancellor the other day. DG Shipping and IMU, in my opinion, should revisit this 18-hour cap policy and consider increasing it to around 24 hours a week. This adjustment would align faculty workload with the demands of maritime education, improve teaching quality, and enhance the professional standing of faculty members and possibly, definitely, the remuneration. Additionally, the regulators should encourage institutes to integrate research, innovation, and mentorship into faculty responsibilities. A clear statement here, ensuring that maritime training remains rigorous and future ready. While technology has eased certain burden, the reduced workload has not translated into greater academic or professional enrichment. A recalibration of teaching hours is necessary, I feel, to restore vigor, accountability, and respect for the faculty today in maritime training. Thank you, David.
I see this is all very close to your heart, and I know that you are speaking from years of experience and also having vociferously spoken about this at several forums. So relevant to that, one more question which comes to my mind is, so should we measure the quality in maritime training by number of teaching hours or by measurable competencies achieved? And if it is the latter, should designated hours evolve into a competency-based framework?
See, quality in maritime training must ultimately be measured by competencies achieved. This is no rocket science. The ability of trainees to perform safely, effectively, and confidently at sea. However, competencies cannot be developed in isolation without sufficient exposure, practice, and guided instructions. The current allocation of 18 hours is simply not good enough to ensure depth of understanding or mastery of critical skills. While teaching hours alone should not be the sole metric of quality, they remain an essential foundation. Hours provide the structured time needed for students to absorb theory, engage in simulations, and practice under supervision. Competency-based frameworks are vital, but they require adequate training time to be meaningful. Without sufficient hours, competency assessment risks become very superficial. Maritime training should not be treated as retired seafarers' profession, which today, unfortunately, it is. But I must tell you that I am getting a good change. In my institute, I have got recently an influx of younger faculty, where minimal exposure suffices, but effective transfer of knowledge is what is most important. Students today face more complex vessels, advanced technology, and higher safety expectations. They need more structured learning time to build resilience, confidence, and adaptability. Increasing the designated hours while aligning them with measurable competencies ensures that quality is not compromised and the graduates are genuinely prepared for the demands of modern maritime operations. Further, in addition to students, our faculty needs to upgrade their own knowledge and skill. I am extremely happy DGS is emphasizing on continuous professional development through the faculty development programs which are coming up. I believe one is started by FOSMA recently. A balanced approach is needed. Expand training hours beyond the current 18 hours, faculty development programs, but embed them with the competency-based framework. This way, students gain both the time and the measurable skills required to meet international standards and industry expectations. Also considering that MIV 2030 vision and Amritkal 2047 visions have to be achieved, and which is very much possible. Thank you, David.
Yeah, Philip, I think we will have to take note of all this and probably prepare a paper based on all these inputs and give to DG as he has requested. I want to ask you one more futuristic question, basically. So, with automation on board ships increasing, so do you foresee maritime education shifting from time-bound teaching to outcome-based teaching? And if so, how should a designated hours policy adapt this?
Well, again, a very important, relevant question. A future-ready maritime education policy must preserve the discipline of monitored learning hours while logically evolving towards outcome-bound learning. Ours should be reframed as structured engagement time that ensures accountability but also maps directly to the defined competencies such as operating autonomous navigation systems, applying cybersecurity protocols, new and emerging technologies, and managing, like Viraf mentioned, AI-driven decision support. The ports are already using it on a wide scale. You see all container ports upcoming. The traditional logic of seat time and classroom exposure remains valid, yet it must be improvised to integrate simulator training, digital modules, and adaptive technologies, ensuring students learn with both today's operational needs and purposes, reinforcing foundational seamanship while embedding future-oriented skills. Adaptive substitution allows simulators and digital labs to complement seat time, but only under strict monitoring to maintain rigor. Continuous assessment and periodic competency audits replace one-time evaluation. While certification validity is tied up to ongoing demonstration of skills. David, somebody is abusing me on the background here.
No, it's Captain Hariharan whose mic was unfortunately on. It's off now. You can carry on.
This framework ensures that maritime education evolves from purely time-bound teaching to outcome-bound learning without reducing monitored hours, thereby balancing tradition with innovation and preparing students to adapt seamlessly to emerging technologies. Finally, be student-centered. This is very important and student-focused. We need to know what they need. What we have adopted is before teaching, we tell the students to, prepare, and we see amazing results. Ultimately, every student selected is good and should be driven by the faculty to be better. Above all, teaching and training these new technologies should have been started yesterday. We need to be the first to be the best. I am confident we can achieve it all together. And I mentioned earlier, our targets are very much achievable and we will achieve it. Thank you, David. Thank you so much for inviting me for this.
Thank you, Philip. I'm sure I finished with you at 5 o'clock. So your meeting with your MD can happen now. So thank you for bearing with us and for the slightly delay in our panel session. And I will now move on to the other two panelists which we have. And I hope they don't have any time restrictions. So I can mix and match them and probably do more like a panel discussion rather than individual questions. So my next panelist is Captain CL Dubey. Again, he has been in the industry for such a long period of time, and Captain Dubey is well known in the industry. So, Dubey sir, my question to you is that in the post-C programs where candidates are experienced seafarers, do you believe the same 18-hour ceiling is equally relevant, or should post-C training have a differentiated teaching hour framework? Captain Dubey, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening, Mr. Birwatker, and thanks a lot for choosing me as a panelist and Captain Nigam. It's excellent webinar which has been arranged, very topical subjects and have been very much related with the maritime training. I was in maritime training for almost 6 years in LBS Nautical College and 28 years in MMTI. So almost 34 years in maritime training. I have been mainly concentrating on competency courses like second mate, chief mate, masters and all. And then master's revalidation and a lot of simulator courses we have. So what I have seen, just to relate with your question you have asked, what we have seen, three types of faculties approach us for the placement. One is that I have reached 65 years. I don't want to sail. I'm not allowed. I have got passion for teaching. Can you please give some position for teaching? The other one is he just come on leave for 3 months and he says, I want to teach for 3 months and 2 months and want to go away. And the third one is that he genuinely wants to teach. He wants to settle ashore. He's young. So this is how the crowd comes to us for for finding a teaching slot. Now what we see is that whether he can impart that knowledge, the art of imparting knowledge, and whether he has the knowledge. So we have a demonstration lecture arranged in addition to the DG Shipping's guidelines, which are there like VICT, then TOTA, what you call it is, then TSTA, simulator training, AECS, all these things he is having. So now this is what is the procedure, how we select them. Now what we see here that 18 hours, per week is really short for the faculties because they join as a first timer, and then slowly they start gaining experience. They meet various students who pass out. There are various questions which come into their head. They reply that. They go through a lot of learning and study themselves. Meet a lot of questions of MMD examinations, and they become very mature and very experienced. And suddenly it's time for them to retire. So when they are really matured and good in teaching, it is told to them that now no more you can't teach. One such example was Captain T.K. Joseph, who was teaching here for 5 years. And one day the circular came that after 65 years, you cannot teach anymore. So I told Captain Joseph that, sir, this is a circular. He said, okay, Captain Dubey, no problem. I will, this is the end of my teaching career, and I will shift to USA now. So see, a person who is really good, who wants to teach, he's being stopped because the number of age requirement as well as the number of hours, because the permanent faculty is here in the campus, right, from 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock or so. He's taking 3-4 hours because number of hours are fixed. And then he's sitting in his cabin, sometimes maybe preparing for the next day, but they're really experienced and they don't have to prepare. They're fully experienced with that, knowing that what to take tomorrow. They're just sitting. They can't take any more lectures. So therefore, I also checked in USA. I mean, the USA system of maritime colleges, it is 20 to 40 hours per week, the contact hours for the faculty. We also have conducted some UK MC approved courses in the past. There was no such limit of number of hours. I just checked the Google. Southfield Marine School is having 37 hours per week for the faculty. So we need the faculties to continue for more time, not only 18 hours per week, to have the best utilization of them, to have the best use of the knowledge what they have gained till then. We should at least have 24 hours per week. This is what is my submission, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Dubey. Very, very encouraging views and a lot of experience behind whatever you're saying. I'll be coming back to you. I have a few other questions relevant to what you mentioned now and also some other topic. Let me move on to our final panelist for the day, Captain Anand Subramaniam. So he's probably the youngest, but I'm sure one of the most dynamic one of the lot. And I've seen his work closely, and I'm sure he's someone who, with his dedication and progressive thinking, will take the training aspect of maritime industry progressively ahead with flying colors. So, Subra, the question to you is on the 18 hours ceiling. As a pre-C institution head, do you find a DG ceiling of 18 teaching hours per week realistic when faculty are simultaneously handling mentoring, discipline management, lesson preparation, assessments, audits, and administrative responsibilities? Does the ceiling protect quality or restrict flexibility? I know Captain Dubey and others have mentioned about that this is less time and it can be increased. But what is your experience and what is your take on this particular aspect?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Am I audible?
Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Firstly, thank you very much for the compliments. Just few days back, I touched 50 plus, so I'm no more in the young. I'm touching the older age now.
You're younger than all of us, Anand, Subra,
Okay.
so please take
Okay,
this as a
right.
compliment.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. All right. Coming back to the question, I would just like to take a holistic view of the maritime training to be imparted and the very limited time the cadets spend in the pre-sea training institutes and all. The 18 hours per week limitation does curtail the flexibility of our trainers. I will use some actual real life, like worldwide examples to amplify my point. If you consider any industry standard 40 hours per week for any other profession, the 18 hours cap for maritime training means we are wasting almost 22 precious hours of productive training of an experienced and rich maritime faculty. We have inherited this 18 hours per week, probably from UGC guidelines for university college professor, who are also involved in many other research and administrative commitments and various other responsibilities on their profile. But honestly, for the MTI trainers, we don't do any such research as such, not that intense research. Neither are they really so intensely involved in the administrative commitments. Not everybody, I would say. We would rather employ a clerical staff for administrative commitments and keep the experienced trainers strictly for maritime training purposes. Moreover, the new 2025 draft UGC guidelines has a very progressive view on the teachers' work hours as mentioned in section 4.1, academic research and administrative commitments. And I would like to quote this because it is very much relevant to us now. Considering the shifting of focus from classroom education to competency and outcome-based learning, the work commitments of the teacher in full employment should not be less than 8 hours per working day. I'm just quoting it from the UGC draft guidelines, which was released for comments last year. It further states, considering the multidisciplinary education that needs to be promoted in higher education, the time spent by teachers in teaching learning process and the time used for research and other academic activities shall be decided by the higher education institution. So there is no kind of a blanket cap or something. It shall be decided by the higher education institutions. This is not yet in force, I understand. However, this is the thought process where we are heading towards, and we should also align the maritime education training in India in the same direction. We have experienced and well-trained faculty who are eager but unable to contribute due to this 18 hours per week ceiling. Many times in our institute in Ashanti College, the cadets want a particular faculty to take additional sessions, but we cannot allocate the classes to them as then it would exceed the 18 hours per week limit. I feel we should leave it to the MTI or the concerned faculty to decide. We can put the maximum ceiling, say, at 40 hours per week and have a logic for that 40 hours also. As mentioned in the UGC draft guidelines, let the MTI decide based on the capacity of the faculty concerned. I was looking at the worldwide working hours of maritime faculty, which Captain Dubey sir just now mentioned, and most, if not all, have a flexible working hours of 30 to 40 hours. Our nearest competitor, and I would like to draw attention here, our nearest competitor, Philippines, allows 30 contact hours for maritime trainers. Interestingly, they value hours of good trainers. They not only allow 30 hours for everybody, they also say, and I quote again, a faculty member with documented very satisfactory teaching performance may be allowed to handle additional 6 hours per week. That is 36 hours per week. And now I can understand the excellent teachers what we had, Captain Subra or maybe Captain TK Joseph, which was just now quoted by Dubey sir. Other maritime resource providers have a very pragmatic and flexible limits. It's around 35 to 40 hours across the various countries, Australia, New Zealand, Norway, Sweden, Japan, China, Canada, and so on. Singapore has left it to the MTI totally to decide on the faculty working hours based on the flexibility, based on the requirements. Somewhere we have to do a very honest introspection of our commitment to the maritime training. Are we ensuring the young generations are getting the maximum knowledge transfer from our experienced maritime trainers? Why throttle a capable trainers from giving their best by restricting them to just 3 or 3.5 hours per day of to impart training? So in short, to sum up, 18 hours per week is not at all realistic, and it severely restricts the trainer's goals and also adversely affects the MTI's flexibility to impart quality training.
The echo is very significantly louder and louder, saying that 18 hours is too short a time for a faculty per week, and we need to enhance that and probably leave it to the institute with some cap where they can not exceed a particular time limit and increase it, but definitely increasing is the unanimous voice which I am hearing from all the panelists thus far. Anand, don't go away. One more question relevant to that is, so there is an argument that cadets benefit from greater structured contact hours in the formative stage. So would increasing teaching hours strengthen foundational competence or is faculty fatigue and reduced teaching quality? It's very relevant, so maybe you can just enhance a little bit on this.
Fine, sir. To answer this particular question, let me come from the faculty fatigue part of it first, to put it into correct perspective and a very simple comparison with a real life scenario. We all know that onboard workload responsibility is far more strenuous as compared to teaching load taken by a trainer in MTI. As per STCW and MLC rules, a seafarer can work easily up to 90 plus hours per week. That is more than 12 hours per day in a very harsh environment and very time zones and various parts of the day, and still not be considered fatigue as per our definition. We have no issues with that. However, the same person, if employed as a maritime trainer, becomes fatigued by getting involved in training for just 18 hours per week, and that is just about 3 or 3.5 hours per day. So how does that kind of work out? Maritime training happens in the comforts of an air-conditioned classrooms, in the regulated environments, in fixed work times. Can we justify getting fatigued by just putting in 3 hours per day? Is it really fatigue, or are we missing out something else? I do understand few staff, due to their personal reasons, don't want to take more than 3 hours per day, but why restrict the majority of the faculty and the trainers who have passion for teaching and can take more hours? As I mentioned earlier, let's have a maximum weekly ceiling hours for faculty teaching, like as it is done the worldwide, about 30 to 40 hours. Then it's up to the individual academic staff and the respective MTIs to decide on the working hours to be put up. As for teaching quality, because you have specifically, kind of highlighted the teaching quality, I sincerely believe this totally rests with the individual trainers, their passion and their commitment to teaching job. And of course, how the MTI treats the particular faculty also. So far with 18 hours per week, we have not managed to guarantee quality training. And as Captain Philip Matthew just now mentioned, teaching quality is measured by many other metrics and not just by the working hours. Yes, few trainers can be utilized to develop new teaching contents. They can be given lesser contact hours. However, not all the faculty are involved in this. Creating a content is also a specialized skill, and not all are capable of enough for creating them. In my honest opinion, more contact hours will greatly increase the experience sharing and will surely benefit not only the cadets, but also higher competency and modular course candidates. I'd like to reiterate that I don't support mandatory increase of contact hours for all the trainers. I understand not all are inclined to taking long hours due to their personal issues, probably, or some choices or some other commitments. But we can surely allow those who are capable and willing to put in more hours. Lastly, the maritime regulations get updated at a far lesser frequency. Typically, if you look at SOLAS, MARPOL, or any other IME instruments, typically once in 6 months. Again, there is no need for us to spend hours every day just for updating ourselves with these changes in regulations. So for sure, we strictly do not need 3 to 4 hours of time daily for updating ourselves academically or to prepare for the next class too. This can be more productively converted to more contact hours, thus improving the seafarers' competencies.
Yeah, thanks, Anand, Subra. So, as you rightly said, there is not too much of dynamic changes in the regulation, etc. Probably the only thing which changes or can be an add-on are the case studies, which can happen experience-based and all that. But that should not require too much time for you to prepare or whatever. So, I agree with you totally on that. I'll be coming back to you. Let me go back to Captain Dubey. Dubey Saab, based on your earlier response, you in India, as you know and I am aware, approved MTS have a restriction on faculty age as 70 to 72 based on permanent or visiting faculties. So what are your views about it?
Yeah, on the same reasoning, what I had put for the number of hours for a faculty, we can say that the faculties at the age of 70 or 72, depending on their permanent or visiting, they are in the prime of their teaching abilities and experience in teaching. And if we tell them to go away because you are no more valid, your age is not in the eligibility criteria, it's not good. They can teach if they are medically fit. That even now also, after 65, the medical examination is compulsory for them. So as long as they're medically fit, they can be allowed to continue. I would say that definitely about 80 years, 75 to 80 years. I can again tell you that in UK system of maritime colleges approved by MCA, there is no upper age limit of the faculties. Those who are teaching in UK colleges, Fleetwood Nautical College, Glasgow Nautical College, South Sea, all these, the faculties don't have any upper age limit restriction for that. So therefore, we should also be allowed in India to continue with the faculties at least till, I won't say for long, but okay, 70, I would say 75 years or 80 years can be more ideal, so that we can have best advantage of their knowledge, what they have gained so far. It is better to have them than some faculties who are not taught any time, they just want to make an entry and they're not good in that. They can't really impart good knowledge. You see, the experienced ones are that they're the best, and they have done the service, and they have already proved themselves that they are good faculties. So that is what I would say, that it should be at least 80 years.
So I conclude that rather than say 80 years, basis health, we can allow the faculty to teach probably till a realistic age and not go by the yardstick of 70 to 70 years, which has been currently laid. Again, this is a question which may have varied answers and different opinions, but I'll leave it to the audience to decide what should be more appropriate on this. Dubey Saab, I have one more question, and knowing that we are all from the old timer way of being trained. We learned hands-on and we had hardly any simulators our time. But we now know that nowadays post courses are often relying on simulator exercises. So while simulator hours may appear efficient, they do require, as we know, briefing, scenario design, debriefing, and performance evaluation. So in your experience, do simulators reduce teaching load or intensify the faculty involvement?
Yes, Mr. Birwadkar, the DG shipping itself has acknowledged and agreed and allowed the faculty number of hours for simulators as 24. So it is different. They themselves have allowed this up to 24 hours per week instead of 18. Those who are teaching in simulators. So they're acknowledging that, yes, not so much of hard work is needed in simulators, and seeing the kind of training activity which goes on in the simulator, they have allowed till 24 hours per week. But I feel there should be about 30 hours. That also should be increased. When we're increasing the general faculty from 18 to 24, for example, we should also enhance this 24 to 30 hours. That is 6 hours per day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dubey Saab. As I know, we will have varied opinions on the various responses we have received, and it will probably be a task for the committee and Prabhat and all of us to probably make a conclusion based paper for the DG. But we'll have to do our best and take the take the opinions of various and incorporate that. My final question is to Subra. And Subra, based on the technology integrations, so with the integration of simulators, AI-based learning tools, AR, VR modules, and CBT systems, have you observed any genuine reduction in the faculty workload, or has technology simply shifted the effort from delivery to preparation and monitoring?
Right, sir. With the advent of AI-based learning tools and the inclusions of the virtual reality and the augmented reality modules, it's far easier for the faculty to train the younger generations of with the tools which is provided. With the smart use of these tools, we in HIMT College have seen a marked improvement in the cadets' understanding of the underpinning concepts and their knowledge. A faculty need not spend too many hours doing the academic-related clerical works. Again, in HIMT, we use many AI tools, which has reduced the faculty's clerical workload. As we heard earlier from Chief Engineer Mahesh Patil and also Captain Viraf Chishgar, and thanks to AI-trained staff in HIMT College, from lesson plan to assessments, AI tools can all ease up the load if it is used responsibly and with the various checks and balances in place. Making tests, MCQ, a quiz, it's all done in a matter of minutes, which only has to be vetted by the concerned course in charge prior to assigning it to the candidates. Candidates' performance, reports, test score analysis, tracking the slow learners, etc., are all automated, but still under the strict supervision of the staff concerned and also the course in charge. If it is used wisely, the AI-based tools can be a great asset to manage the workload of the faculty, and also for them to, the trainers to concentrate on their core competency, that is to train the seafarers. And as they're easier to deploy and monitor, the faculty can then handle such sessions for longer time, and at the same time keeping the class lively and retaining the full attention of the candidates and the cadets.
Sounds reasonable and practical, Subra. So yes, I go a long way in agreeing to what you said. I know Nalin Pandey has raised his hand, but I will request him to just wait for Prabha to take over after my conclusion, and then maybe a short Q&A session can be conducted that time. Maybe you can raise your query, sir. So allow me to quickly conclude this session, and then I'll hand over to Prabhat. So thank you to all the panelists for all the lovely views and remarks, and I think a very insightful discussion we had today. And what has clearly emerged, I would say, is that the question is not merely about the number 18. The 18-hour ceiling serves as a regulatory safeguard, but faculty workload extends far beyond classroom delivery, preparation, simulator briefings and debriefings, assessments, mentoring, administrative responsibilities, and continuous compliance activities significantly shape the real academic efforts within MTIs. We have also heard that technology like AI, AR, VR, and advanced simulators has transformed the training landscape. However, while these tools enhance learning outcomes and realism, they do not automatically reduce faculty involvement. In many cases, in fact, they demand higher levels of planning, oversight, and evaluation. I think the discussion highlighted three key tensions: quality versus quantity, compliance versus flexibility, technology as replacement versus enhancement. Perhaps the most important takeaway is that teaching us alone cannot define training quality. Competency outcomes, faculty sustainability, and institutional capability must also inform the framework. As maritime education evolves alongside automation and digitalization at sea, the designated hours model may need to evolve from a purely time-based measure towards a more outcome-oriented approach. I am repeating it, from a purely time-based measure towards a more outcome-oriented approach. So while preserving safeguards that protect both students and faculty. So on behalf of all the panelists and on behalf of the organizers, I thank everyone for being here, especially the panelists for the thoughtful contributions and all attendees for giving their views and suggestions in the chat box. I think we should let the dialogue continue beyond today as we collectively shape the future of maritime training. Thank you so much, and over to you, Prabhat. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Am I audible?
Yes, very audible.
Okay. As you have rightly concluded, David, this is still open for discussion, and it has to be outcome based. More so, the two speakers who had spoken about the technical part and the teacher's perspective of various AI, AR, VR use in maritime education and training, that also we will like to keep it open for our next session, which is on 1st of August, which will be offline in either Mumbai or Navi Mumbai, where we have to choose one of these places. As far as question answer open house is concerned, do we have any questions? If now, please raise your hand.
Nalin Saab had something to say, so maybe he
Go
also
ahead,
had.
Nalin Saab, बोलिए.
See, I had something to say और मेरे को निकलना भी था, इसलिए मैं टाइपिंग शुरू कर दिया था. But I just tell you that in my 15-20 years of experience with the DG, there may be some 10-15 people hai, they surround the various DG जो 4-15 साल से आए हैं, and they do not allow the DG to take a decision which they have agreed in a big meeting. They have agreed that we will give you 24 hours for the normal teaching. And I can tell you it is on the record. Those records have been hidden. Those minutes of meeting were not circulated. Not circulated because somebody in the industry only did something which I don't want to name it, and then DG became upset and he did not circulate. So this was already agreed. You have to think that how come somebody will pay you for 8 hours a day and you work for 3 hours a day, and you keep telling that my job is the most important job in the world. Then what about the others? They are not doing the proper job. That a teacher whose syllabus is fixed by the IMO STCW, there is no research, there is nothing, absolutely no work outside this daily routine. And when Mr. David say, which I do not agree with the major part of what he has said, that teacher has to do this work, teacher has to do that work, he has to do mentoring, nothing absolutely. In the institute where the modular competency courses are happening, there is no involvement other than the classroom, absolutely. So the MTG, they have to take the decision, okay, and they have to recommend to the DG, which is in a greater benefit of that. Otherwise, we have an institute who is not able to deliver the good, competent seafarer. Their competency is lacking because we have less competent teacher to teach them, and the MTI cannot employ because of the restriction of 3 hours. You have to think that also, that we cannot have a we want to have a better teacher, like Captain Dubey sir said that, okay, Captain TK Joseph said that thank you very much and now I am going. He wanted to teach but he cannot, and that is how there are many teachers. The age wise, then we have the number of hours that must go. So this is my submission, and with that I will leave also because I have another meeting from 5:15 only, so I'm overstayed here.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Well noted. We will see how we will, when we write the white paper, that time we will consider all these pros and cons. Okay, Kamal, if there are no more questions, please conclude the session and thank everyone for coming, sir.
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhat. Good evening, everyone. We had an excellent count of almost, I think we touched 93 attendees at one stage. And when we started discussing that we had given such a short time for this whole thing we put together, we were afraid we'd stop at something. 50 is the best we could do, but I think we've done reasonably well. But of course, there's something like, at least 500 trainers around the country, and we manage only 90. So, okay, we have a long way to go. So, training. I was a trainer at one time. I am still a trainer. I do media training, etc. But when I started out, I had role models that we frequently talk about. There's Captain Subramaniam and there's Captain Joseph and Captain Rewari. So I was trying to ape Captain Subramaniam in the way he had this penchant for putting everything very humorously. Right? Even if he had to pull up someone in the class, he would do it in a manner that made everyone laugh. So with my very poor ability to grasp things very well, I grasped the part that you can be humorous. So the very first training session I took, thank you, Captain Dubey, for years back. I started there at MMTI, and I go into the class and I say, okay, let me open with a humorous episode. So I told them a humorous story, but I found so much joy in creating humor that I spent half the period of the class in telling humorous stories. So that's not the way to go drifting, because I notice now our involvement with AI is getting so serious that some of us are more interested in AI than in actually imparting knowledge and training. So I would say people have to be a little careful that the training still remains delivering knowledge and making sure it is done is more important than simply getting carried away with all these new techniques. But having said that, I must start thanking everyone. I'll do it very quickly. To start with, we have our own very founder, president, Captain Prabhat Nigam, who this is our 15th launch day, right, Prabhat?
15th Founders Day, and this is 7th launch day. Launch day is when we got registered. That was in the year 2019.
Great. So 15 years of, I'd say, dedication and hard work and constantly pushing this organization is how I see Prabhat having, carried this on his own shoulders all these years. So I think he deserves a big applause. You may applause with your mics on, but I will make a little bit of sound there. Okay. Next, we're very grateful to DG Sahab. He has always supported us, and the moment we spoke to him about giving us time, without hesitation, he opened his phone and started noting over there, this is the time he's going to give to MTG, and that was it. So there's no questions asked. What is the subject matter? Nothing. So we have that much trust of the directorate and the Director General himself that we are going to be our what do you call it, involvement with training is going to be respected and honored. So thank you very much, Shyam Jagannathan ji. You're not here, but we will convey this message to you in writing. That's our chief guest. The subject matter was put together very well with the help of our mentors. Our mentors, Mr. Rai, SM Rai, he's really very grateful to him. He's always there. He actually leads many of the meetings for us, so we can let things rest on his shoulders. Captain Sagi, less said. I mean, whatever I say is not going to be enough. And we have who else am I missing? Someone over here? Captain Sagi is there. And yes, Dr. Surinder is always there with us. He's not a mentor, but he's always with us, saying lots and lots of knowledgeable things and guiding us as colleagues, more really. But yes, their inputs are very valuable. David, since he started working with us on a official basis, has really put together lots of these events in very short time. What I like about David is he can just let's not waste time. In 5 minutes, he's got all the topics ready, and we are all ready to roll. So, David, thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. The speakers, Mahesh Patil, this is the first time I came in contact with him, and it was really very interesting. And he put together an excellent presentation. I think we had a lot to learn from it. Viraf, of course, Viraf is part of our team, and he's our man for Western India. Viraf's knowledge, of course, is phenomenal. And the best thing I would like about Viraf is he never takes himself very seriously. He's always there, he's open, he's very humble. You can talk to him. He never makes you feel that he's talking down to you, which is something a lot of people cannot do, but he does it very well. Despite his, I would say, great stature in the industry, he manages to do that. I think that's a great quality. Thank you, Viraf. Thank you. Again, we have David as the man who led the panel discussion. I already said a few things about David, but this particular subject, I actually pushed this subject that we should take this up for 18 hours already. People felt this has been hashed and rehashed, but I felt this is close to every trainer's heart. So let's go for it. And David agreed and he supported me. And thank you, David, for doing that, because today we could see there's passion in this particular subject, and everyone has a say. Things have changed, in all these years. And there are senior people, and now I think Anand told us that there are lots of junior people now coming into the industry. So that's a great change we're going to see. And in fact, I'm thinking that we have mentors, senior people. They tell us a lot, but at some stage, MTG is going to induct a few, younger blood, so that we see their point of view as well, and we mix it up all nicely and to get the best out of our industry. Francis Akara, I've known him for at least 25 years. He's always delivered. He was in a bit of a hurry, but still gave us time. So thank you very much, Francis. I appreciate that. Captain Dubey, I have known Captain Dubey, I think for years and years. I started my training bit with him, and that's he has grown and grown. His training institute has grown, and Captain Dubey, of course, is well respected, much respected, I should say, and he will always come back with. And the party told us about how the trainers are restricted 3 hours, and the rest of the time they're simply sitting in the cabins, doing whatever, chatting here and there, and that time is really a loss to the industry. So I think we really need to review that. Captain Philip Matthews, thank you, Philip, for being with us. You always bring that extra dimension to any discussion, and very honest, very frank. Sometimes I'm afraid of his being very candid, but but we need people of him, his candidness. And
Is he still there? Is he still there?
No, but I think somebody let slip something about him in the middle.
Okay.
I think he was talking in his lingo, so Philip
Okay.
caught on.
Okay.
That was a bit of a hiccup over there. And yes, Anand, thank you so much for being with us. You, of course, uh, with HIMT, etc., and having known you for a while now, you add that little extra to every meet we have. So we know that somebody of your background and you're, I think you're relatively young. Some of us are like, okay, people talking about 70 and 72. Some of us are way above that, and I don't know if we are going to be a faculty of any kind. But I'll also tell you what didn't come out was, with age, I've seen some of our lecturers have, are physically not in a good state. Some of them are not able to hear too well. Some of them are not able to see too well. Some of them have huge, dental issues. So they're, half the class is not able to understand what they're saying. So I think that
Medical fitness is required.
medically unfit, I think. And
Yes.
that responsibility rests with the training institute to either guide them to make things better for them, health wise, or to really weed them out because they are not good, not good. So somewhere I think that age factor does matter. So how it is to be handled, of course, we'll have to work that out. Okay, and again, David Birwarkar again appears here on my list. But David, all I can say is thank you very much. You did a wonderful job. We appreciate every minute and every effort that you put in for Maritime Trainers Guild. In the end, I must say thank you very much to everyone. Not to forget our manager over here, Madam Delphine, who helps us put this whole thing together and takes care of the publicity, etc., and fills in some of the gaps that I leave. So it's and me and Pravat probably we leave. So she's a wonderful support to all of us. Thank you very much, Delphine. I think I'm done for the day.
Special thanks to all our corporate members. And I see especially, and I want to mention over here, HIMT, because I see Dr. Sanjeev Vakil and his two sons have never missed a single meeting, webinar, or offline or online seminar. And they've always been there, and I can see them over there.